Good afternoon, and welcome again to the Stoner Report. I'm Marius Stoner, Associate Editor of Cannabis Culture Magazine, and this is another edition of the week's top marijuana news. I'm here in the BCMP Vapor Lounge in downtown Vancouver. We're having wonderful balmy weather today. It's incredible. The sun is shining, everybody's smiling. We're pretty lucky. And a lot of exciting news is happening there. I can hear like Jody in the background there. Hi, Jody. Hi. Good. I just started my show. Okay, I'll talk to you later. That was Jody back there. So yeah, welcome and thank you for watching. I have some bad news for Pot TV fans. Jeremiah will definitely not be doing a show today. Talked to him this morning and he just, he's way too busy. He has other stuff and he just is not able to make it. But join him next week, definitely for a show. So this is your Friday edition of Pot TV. I hope you enjoy it. So starting off today, you probably heard last weekend, Obama talked to the New Yorker, or actually it was released on Sunday. Talked to the New Yorker about marijuana, and I'll read what Philip Smith has to write about that. In an interview with the New Yorker released Sunday, President Barack Obama said he didn't think marijuana was more dangerous than alcohol, and that legalization experiments going on in Colorado and Washington were important. But he also said marijuana use wasn't something he could encourage, and he worried that pot legalization could lead to a slippery slope when the decriminalization or legalization of other more dangerous drugs might be considered. The comments came as interviewer David Remick prodded Obama on the issue of marijuana policy in the midst of a whopping 15,000-word profile of the president. Remick described Obama's position on pot as an area of shifting public opinion where he seemed even less eager to evolve with any dispatch and get in front of the issue. As has been well documented, Obama said in response to a Remnick question, "I smoked pot as a kid, and I view it as a bad habit and a vice, not very different from cigarettes that I smoked as a young person up through a big chunk of my adult life. I don't think it is more dangerous than alcohol." But less dangerous? Remnick asked. In terms of its impact on the individual consumer, Obama conceded, "It's not something I encourage. I've told my daughters I think it's a bad idea, a waste of time, not very healthy." Perhaps marijuana smoking is a bad habit, but racially biased marijuana law enforcement is bad policy, Obama said. Middle-class kids don't get locked up for smoking pot, and poor kids do, he said. And African-American kids and Latino kids are more likely to be poor and less likely to have the resources and the support to avoid unduly harsh penalties. We should not be locking up kids or individual users for long stretches of jail time when some of the folks who are writing these laws have probably done the same thing. And thus the administration's hands-off policy towards marijuana legalization in Colorado and Washington. It's important for it to go forward because it's important for society not to have a situation in which a large portion of people have at one time or another broken the law and only a select few get punished. But then the professional president argued the other side of the issue. Having said all that, those who argue that legalizing marijuana is a panacea and it solves all these social problems, I think are probably overstating the case. There is a lot of hair on that policy, and the experiment that is going to be taking place in Colorado and Washington is going to be, I think, a challenge. Legalizing marijuana could open the door to talk about legalizing other drugs, he cautioned. I also think that when it comes to harder drugs, the harm done to the user is profound and the social costs are profound. And you do start getting into some difficult line drawing issues. If marijuana is fully legalized, at some point folks say, well, we can come up with a negotiated dose of cocaine that we can show is not any more harmful than vodka. Are we open to that? If somebody says, we've got a finely calibrated dose of meth, it isn't going to kill you or rot your teeth. Are we okay with that? So yeah, personally, I would be okay with that. There's no crime in taking a substance. Many substances that we take have harm associated with them. Obama's argument is rather similar to the Republican argument against gay marriage, where they call it a slippery slope. Well, if you legalize gay marriage, well then, you know, you have to legalize bestiality and whatnot. I think that, you know, it's ridiculous, and that if there is a slippery slope in the marijuana legalization, it will lead to a rational drug policy. Many people use cocaine recreationally, and they're still a part of society, just hidden. They don't tell their bosses and whatnot, but their friends know, and many people use other drugs as well. And, well, the Young Turks commented on this as well, and they said that once Obama usually starts talking about an issue, then change is likely to follow. He's not a leader of any sorts, he's more of a follower, they said, and so it's a good sign, you know, with the caveat of him being kind of two-faced about the whole thing. Anyways, that was a very interesting thing, for sure. So, last week, Governor Cuomo said that he was going to introduce a pilot plan for medical marijuana in New York. Most New Yorkers support Governor Andrew Cuomo's plan to allow the use of medical marijuana in a pilot program in up to 20 hospitals, according to a poll released on Monday. Nearly half, 49%, of the New York voters polled thought he should skip the pilot step entirely and legalize its medicinal use statewide, as has already happened in about 20 other states, the Siena College poll said. A total of 28% of New Yorkers said that the pilot program was the way to go. A slim majority of 54%, however, oppose following the lead of the states of Colorado and Washington and legalizing marijuana for recreational use. 41% supported such a move. Voters under 35 say yes, as do a bare majority of men. Democrats and independents are closely divided, but Republicans are strong no, Siena College pollster Stephen Greenberg said in a statement. New Yorkers are not yet ready to duplicate what they see in the Mile High City. Well, I found that rather surprising, but I guess there's a lot more propaganda about marijuana in New York than I suspected before. Illinois has unveiled proposed rules for medical marijuana use. To use medical marijuana in Illinois, patients would be fingerprinted, undergo a background check, and pay $150 a year to get a special photo ID under the proposed regulations unveiled Tuesday. In the first attempt to sort out the complicated logistics of launching a medical cannabis program, the Illinois Department of Health posted 48 pages of draft regulations online. The department also is opening an informal public comment period before submitting the proposal officially, when more comments will be accepted. The department shared the draft regulations ahead of time with the Associated Press. A new state law legalized medical marijuana in a 4-year pilot project with some of the strictest standards in the nation. The draft rules for patients and their caregivers start to clarify how the system would work. We're really excited about a really transparent process. It's quite unprecedented for us to go through with these steps, Bob Morgan, coordinator of the state's medical cannabis program, told the AP. The law gave the department until the end of April to write regulations, but the department is posting the rules early to allow time for public comment, Morgan said. Well, considering, well, we have another article on the Illinois, and I'll read that first. The Illinois Department of Health Tuesday unveiled their proposed rules for the state's medical marijuana pilot program, including several proposals that are receiving significant backlash from marijuana advocates. Among the proposals are that the medical marijuana users would need to pay a $150 annual fee to participate in the program by getting a special photo ID, in addition to agreeing to be fingerprinted, undergo a criminal background check, and relinquishing their right to own a gun, the Associated Press reports. The IDPH is now accepting public comment on their proposals through February 7th before it plans to submit their recommendations to state lawmakers by the end of April, followed by another public comment period, the Chicago Tribune reports. Patient applications aren't expected to begin to be considered until September. Meanwhile, the Chicago Sun-Times notes the state's Department of Financial and Professional Regulation and Department of Agriculture are still working on rules concerning the state's marijuana cultivation centers and dispensaries. Those rules will be posted online as soon as they are available, an IDPH spokesman told the paper. Okay, so if you're sick and you need medical marijuana, well, you better hope that you don't have a criminal record, it seems. And I guess if you're a hunter, you got to give up your gun. I'm sure that'll go over really, really well in the States. I mean, I don't see any problems there. New Jersey Governor Christie, we will end the failed war on drugs. Governor Christie today, that was on Tuesday, took the oath of office for a second time and delivered his inaugural address at the War Memorial in Trenton. During his inaugural address, he called for an end to the drug war and compassion for those suffering from drug addiction. Excerpts from the governor's speech, where he spoke about the war on drugs and drug addiction, include, "We will end the failed war on drug that believes that incarceration is the cure of every ill caused by drug abuse. We will make drug treatment available as to many of our nonviolent offenders as we can, and we will partner with our citizens to create a society that understands this simple truth. Every life has value and no life is disposable," Christie said during his inaugural speech this morning. The governor expressed desire to help those struggling with drug addiction in a bipartisan manner. And while government has a role in ensuring the opportunity to accomplish these dreams, we have now learned that we have an even bigger role to play as individual citizens. We have to be willing to play outside the red and blue boxes the media and pundits put us in. We have to be willing to reach out to others who look or speak differently than us. We have to be willing to personally reach out a helping hand to a neighbor suffering from drug addiction, depression, or the dignity of stripping loss of a job, said Christie. Wow, I wonder if he managed to say it all with a straight face. Yeah, he looks pretty serious there. Christie will end the war on drugs, just like Obama did, is our next article. During his State of the State speech yesterday, New Jersey Governor Christie promised to end the failed war on drugs. Wait a minute. Didn't the Obama administration end the war on drugs way back in 2009? Drug czar Jill Karofsky says it did. Turns out that Christie, who first called the war on drugs a failure in 2012, 8 years after Barack Obama did, has something similar in mind. He does not want to stop responding to drug use with violence. He just wants to make drug treatment more available, which entails forcing nonviolent drug offenders into treatment by threatening to lock them in cages. Sadly, that does count as an improvement. Most people arrested on drug charge no doubt would prefer treatment to jail. But what is the moral justification for compelling that choice? If the state does not take that approach with alcoholics, except when they have broken the law in ways that endanger or harm others, why should it treat users of arbitrarily prescribed drugs this way? Beats the heck out of me. The World Economic Forum is going to meet in Davos, and Texas Governor Rick Perry and Kofi Annan are going to be on the World Economic Forum panel discussing the drug war. The World Economic Forum in Davos will host a plenary session on drug policy on Thursday, January 23rd. This is the first time the prestigious gathering has given such prominence to the issue. The panel, moderated by Univision anchor Enrique Acevedo, is called The Drugs Dilemma: Consequences for Society, Politics and Business. Former UN head Kofi Annan, President Juan Manuel Santos of Colombia, Human Rights Watch Executive Director Ken Roth, and Texas Governor Rick Perry will be on the panel. I've long wondered what it would take to persuade the Davos organizers to put drug policy on the main stage of the forum, said Ethan Nadelman, Executive Director of the Drug Policy Alliance. They clearly were moved by the fact that some of the world's most distinguished statements, including former UN Secretary Kofi Annan and former Brazilian President Fernando Henrique Cardoso, are now deeply committed to ending the global war on drugs and pushing the envelope of drug decriminalization. Drug policy reform. We're pushing envelopes of decriminalization.
Is there an envelope we can push?
Here, let me grab my envelopes and push them over here.
Hi, Pod TV.
Hey.
Pushing envelopes sounds like a drug dealer who's got a good package.
Really? Oh, okay.
I've been pushing envelopes all day, man.
Really? Well, I told you not to give away the name of my new band.
Pushing envelopes. I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. How's the show going, Marius?
It's going pretty well. I think we're almost here at 2:20, so you came at the perfect time to smoke my joint with me.
Perfect, as I always do.
Yeah.
It's the Snoop Dogg half-baked.
Here we are, and there's the red alert sound. So
420 somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Alberta?
No, that's one time zone. It was 2 times, so it would be Manitoba and stuff, I think. Or,
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Somewhere around there.
We don't know our time zones.
I looked at it and then I couldn't remember. So.
How's your sound and everything?
Sound is great. Here, let's check. Let's double check that. Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if they can hear you as well as me, but
you can't see the chat.
No, it always happens. There we go. There's the chat. Hey everyone.
Chatters.
Yeah, last week the chat didn't even work. It was just a black screen.
Redbeard said
for some
he had
reason.
Problems with it too.
Oh, maybe that was it. So happy 420 or 220.
Did you tell them that I won't be doing a show today?
Yeah, I did.
I did. Sorry, guys.
So sad.
No show today.
There were tears.
We'll be back next week, but too much to do. And did you see? Oh yeah, you were here to see all of it. We've just hung a bunch of TVs in our lounge now, so we can pipe some of our Pot TV and other store-related stuff through our awesome TVs now.
Yeah, it should be really cool.
I was talking to Chris Goodwin earlier about it. Chris has been bugging us for a long, long time to put screens in our lounge because they have them in Vapor Central and they love having their screens. There's mixed thoughts on it around here. Some of the hippie crowd don't like the screens so much. So.
Oh, they look great.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, I thought they would like overpower the place, but really the place is quite large.
It is,
and they're kind of tiny screens.
Yeah, they're only 32 inches.
So no, I don't. I was ambivalent at first, but I think I like them now. So.
Excellent. Ooh, good joint. So what are you talking about on the news here?
Well, we just finished talking about the World Economic Forum in Davos. We talked about Obama and
Kofi Annan in the picture there?
Yeah, Kofi Annan and Rick Perry will be on a panel discussing the drug war.
Rick Perry?
Yeah.
Oh, the governor of Texas?
Yeah.
Yeehaw. He's kind of I don't know what's his issue? Is he debating against, what is Kofi Annan is...
I can't recall offhand what his position was. I know that he said some stuff.
Maybe he's like Stephen Harper and the NDP now.
It could be.
I can't believe that the conservatives and the NDP are now supporting the same marijuana policies. The NDP has totally lost my respect in this country. Not all of the members of the NDP, just the brass.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with the NDP. It always seems like when they need the votes, they will call themselves left-wing and environmental and You know,
and then when it
but
actually
when push comes to shove, they don't do anything.
No.
It's like some hardcore part of the party seems to think, no, we got to stay. We got to stay with our conservative roots. And like, what the hell? That's not what.
The liberals are the same though. I think because who
Yeah.
knows? It's easy to talk a lot of trash when you're the third party and you don't have to implement any real changes. It makes it a lot easier to say lofty things and have these goals that seem unattainable when you're actually in power. I don't actually believe that they just can't do this stuff. I believe that once they get in power, they're trying to appeal to a larger demographic, so they tone down their radical messages to try to appeal to everybody.
For sure.
Which is the wrong move, because if you got there in the first place, you should stand behind your platform, because that means the people want change. Anyways.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that once they
Why are we talking about Bieber?
Once they get into power, they have to bow down to their economic backers,
Right.
as well.
Definitely.
But on the other hand, it was Trudeau who originally, Pierre Trudeau, who originally brought in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that totally changed the Constitution of Canada, which used to be simply the British North America Act, which was, how to separate the territories. So, politicians have done good stuff in the past, and it was the Liberal Party that has been more progressive when they've been in power, definitely than the Conservatives and Brian Mulroney and all that racket. Mm-hmm. So we can hope for at least some positive change when the Liberals come in next time. I'm saying when.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's even if Trudeau wants to legalize, I mean, they need enough seats in there and they need enough support to actually do something like that in the House of Commons. And then it has to also pass the Senate, which has now been completely stacked by the Conservatives. So it might not be as easy as 1, 2, 3 just to get some crazy bill that legalizes marijuana and opens stores across Canada passed in our House of Commons and our Senate. So I want this to happen, but I mean, it's not just as easy as that. But I think we should definitely support Trudeau for sure when he's saying this stuff. No doubt about it.
We should definitely support any politician that says they're going to legalize marijuana, and then hold them to it if they ever get into office.
Exactly.
So,
well, what other choice do we have? Malcare and the Conservatives are lining up.
Yeah.
So, no real choice. Bieber, there's talk of Bieber. Didn't Bieber? I just caught a headline that said
he got out of jail. Yeah.
He got out of jail. So what? Driving under the influence of something? But do we know what it was? Was he drunk?
I'm not sure. It might have been pot.
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't actually read. I just saw driving under the influence. It was said he was smoking weed and drinking.
Okay.
Double derp there.
There we go. Gee, well, and obviously, I'm not following any of the important stories. Right. Obviously,
these LA cops. Though, here's the thing with Bieber: these LA cops have been out to get him for a while since he egged his neighbor's house.
Oh yeah,
and I guess his neighbor called the cops on him because he was driving erratically in the neighborhood or something. So Bieber's at war with his neighbors. Bunch of rich kid. I don't know what kind of a house he's got there or what. But.
Well, gee, yeah. I mean, he's a rich kid. What can you say?
Yeah, he's got a lot of cash to throw around. Yeah. He's probably pretty cocky. But, hey, anybody who smokes weed couldn't be that bad. So
Yeah, that's a general rule of thumb. I'm sure there are exceptions.
Yeah. I like that.
Bieber seems like a nice kid.
He does. I don't hate on him. Everybody's hating on him.
I don't hate
and
him.
Even High Times, I saw a thing that when he stepped out of the van and there was that big cloud of smoke that came out of the Bieber van. Did you see that one? I guess it was some photo op that he wanted to look cool. But they were smoking weed in the van. But High Times was like making fun of him for it. But I was like, fuck, more power to Bieber. Hotbox the van, motherfuckers. Why not? What's the problem there? That's actually kind of more cool than anything else he's doing. So.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discourage that behavior in anybody.
No, it's awesome when celebrities come out and, come out of the closet of their marijuana use.
Yeah, it doesn't really hurt us any. Although, I mean, obviously people, anything that you attach to these celebrities, he's the weed guy. Maybe if he starts acting too erratic.
That's true. But the more and more that come out and are open about it, the more accepted in society it is, and the polls will reflect it, and the laws will eventually reflect it.
I'm sure we'll see a thing soon that says Bieber in rehab for marijuana, Bieber-hab, and it'll be like Lady Gaga who said, "I was addicted to marijuana.
Oh yeah,
and now I'm cured."
That was like, oh gee, didn't have much respect for her, but that was about it.
It's all, these artists are totally.
But who am I to
talk? Like I don't even. What is Lady Gaga all about? To me, it seems like it seems like more of this intelligence community stuff that they love so much that has no political message, that has nothing to it at all. It's completely mindless. It's like bubblegum for your brain. You know, the powers that be love that kind of art, actually. They love it because it promotes materialism instead of actually any sort of philosophy about anything. So,
absolutely.
Abstract expressionism, I believe they call that kind of form of artwork. The CIA loves that stuff because it's apolitical. It means nothing. But not to say that the art form itself isn't valid. But anyways, I don't know what I'm about now.
Well, you know, when you're in times of like civil crisis, which we are, I mean, there's so many people suffering, you know, everywhere through the drug laws and other things, especially with the environmental collapse because of I'm kind of rambling on.
Well, there's definitely, I mean, I don't know. I think people's minds are in the clouds. I was just talking earlier about this with somebody about how we seem to be so bipolar as a culture, where we're so caring and loving, but then our media and the things that we watch in our entertainment is so violent and so aggressive and so in your face, and it's so cool to be a tough guy and so aggressive and all this shit. It's real, like, you know, it's almost like animalistic or something. And I don't think it's by mistake. I think it's by design.
No.
I think the media is like, they love that violence. You see violence instead of caring or like any sort of real sexuality or anything.
Yeah.
They want to push this shit. They want to get everybody angry at each other and whip them up, and then that's how they control you. John Lennon said, they poke at you, they tug at your beard, and then when you react, that's where they got you right where they want you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's become like a consumer culture as opposed to an educational culture. Like when I was young, I envisioned that society would once turn into this big university. Each city would be this grand university, and everybody would love doing whatever they did, whether it be music or science or whatever, something like that. And we could live like that, but instead, the message has been taken out of art, and they give us the trash, like you've said, and we've been dumbed down instead of educated, and it's really sad. I mean, we could be so much more. We could be just a brilliant people, and I think we still can, because enough of us know that we can, and as long as we put our minds to it, we can get there.
There's lots of enlightenment. There's lots of people who know what's going on, and they're friendly. So, and we're changing things. It's getting better.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope.
Okay.
I pray. If we don't destroy the whole earth, people
will
are
make it.
I think we will. As long as because there's a lot of us who do lead very happy and decent lives, and that energy spreads, and we can pass that on to others. I just hope that the balance hasn't been thrown off by all our crazy, exploitative, earth-shattering, like destructive technologies that we use. But if that's the case, then maybe humankind, wipes themselves out, and the Earth goes back to what it is. That's a horrible thing to say. I don't promote that idea.
No.
I think people who promote that idea are kind of scary.
No. I think that human beings are kind of being tested, right? Can either truth is going to win out or violence is going to win out.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out which is more powerful, and might or right. And if it's might, we're going to end up destroying ourselves, and we're just not stable enough to handle awareness. And
I'm not even so sure what destroying ourselves means anyway, because every human being dies eventually.
Yeah.
So,
but as a society, I think that we've become more and more sophisticated, and
well, I don't think they'll ever be able to kill off all of us. So we're going places. We're going somewhere at least.
Who knows what the future is?
We're like rats. We're never going to be able to be eradicated completely. Cockroaches.
Cockroaches. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta roll. But
all right. Thanks for coming by, man.
Exactly. Love you, Pod TV.
All right. See you later. Okay, so the show's going to be a little bit longer today. I hope you guys don't mind. And back to the news. Our next story is from the NFL. Commissioner Roger Goodall said Thursday the NFL would consider allowing athletes to use marijuana to treat concussions and other head injuries if medical experts deemed it a legitimate solution. Appearing with General Electric CEO Jeff Immelt to announce the first 16 winners of the $20 million Head Health Challenge, sponsored by GE and the league, Goodall didn't sway from his recent statements on use of the drug by active players. I'm not a medical expert, We will obviously follow signs. We will follow medicine. And if they determine this could be a proper usage in any context, we will consider that, Goodall said. Our medical experts are not saying that right now. Both Colorado and Washington, home states of the Super Bowl teams, the Seahawks and the Broncos, are the only states where the drug is legal for recreational use. 20 more, plus Washington, D.C., allow for medical marijuana use. A report on HBO's Real Sports with Brian Gumbel Tuesday estimated that between 50 and 60% of the league's players regularly use the drug, many for pain management. The show also interviewed an Israeli doctor who showed how treating mice with head trauma and marijuana showed drastic improvement in their symptoms. So that's really interesting. The Super Bowl, ironically, has the two states that have legalized for recreational use, as said in the story. Al has his theories, his conspiracy theories, though he hasn't said anything specific. He just thinks that it's too odd. Somebody must have done something, and I don't know if professional sports is, on the level or not, or whether the games are rigged. Who knows what's going on there. Jeremiah, we have a Super Bowl article from Ellen Comp, one of our cannabis culture writers. As the Paca Bowl pits Washington against Colorado on the gridiron, people still think marijuana legalization will weaken the U.S. workforce. Even as Northern Californians were rooting for the San Francisco 49ers in their playoff game against Seattle on Sunday, a few were secretly hoping that this year's Super Bowl matchup would be from the two states that have legalized marijuana, Washington and Colorado. Stoners got their wish when the Denver Broncos defeated the Patriots and Seattle Seahawks bested the 49ers. The great irony is that even as excellence and liberalism demonstrably can coexist, politicians and pundits are hand-wringing over pot legalization and what it will mean for the U.S. workforce. First, the newly Americanized woman who takes down every magazine she works for, Tina Brown, tweeted, "Legal weed contributes to us being a fatter, dumber, sleepier nation and even less able to compete with the Chinese." Then California Government Jerry Brown told the Washington Post, "I do think America's under a certain amount of competitive pressure, so I think that we have to stay alert and heads up. I don't know if everybody's going to pot, and that's going to be a positive path forward." But is that true? A recent article in Time magazine asked, "China makes everything. Why can't it create anything?" Pointing out, many of the products China manufactures today aren't really Chinese at all. Apple iPads might be exported from the assembly lines based in China, but the Chinese themselves do little more than piece them together. What an article. Anyways, I'll read enough. That's enough of her article for the moment. And as recently as today, Holder, the Attorney General of the United States, says that banking rules for dispensaries are coming soon, finally. Attorney General Eric Holder said Thursday that the Obama administration would soon announce regulations that would allow banks to business with legal marijuana businesses. To do business. Financial institutions have been scared away from such businesses by the threat of legal action for dealing in the profits of a commodity still under federal law. The Obama administration had previously signaled it was working to address the issue, but it now appears action is imminent. You don't want huge amounts of cash in these places. They want to be able to use the banking system, Holder said during the appearance at the University of Virginia's Miller Center. There is a public safety component to this. Huge amount of cash, substantial amounts of cash just kind of lying around with no place for it to appropriately be deposited is something that would worry me, just from a law enforcement perspective, he explained. We're in the process now of working with our colleagues at the Treasury Department to come up with regulations that will deal with the issue. And the new rules are coming very soon, Holder said. It is an attempt to deal with a reality that exists in these states. Holder did not want to clarify whether his remarks were aimed solely at Colorado and Washington, which have legalized marijuana commerce, or were just directed more generally at states that allow for legal medical marijuana. Okay. So that's our show for today. Thanks again for joining me, and thanks to Jeremiah, who came out and joined us for a bit. Had a lot of fun as usual. Hope you guys did too. Keep up the good fight. Don't forget to come visit us at 307 West Hastings. We have a wonderful bong shop with lots of hemp clothing. We got a vapor lounge and a pool table as well. And you can come visit us in the offices or come watch us tape the shows. Our show schedule should be up pretty soon on Pot TV. We're just working with the web team to get it up there. I know it hasn't been up there for a while, but we're getting things done eventually. I'll remind you, at 11 o'clock, we're able to simulcast. It's normally just on Be Real TV, but now on Pot TV is Al the Alchemist Show, class in session. And then on Wednesdays, don't forget to join us at 4 o'clock for Greg's show from Under the Influence. Fridays, here I am at 2 p.m. for the Stoner Report, and normally 4 o'clock would be our news show, Cannabis Culture News Live with Jeremiah Vandermeer. So also, don't forget to visit freemark.ca, read about his story, and send him a letter, because he's going to be out in 6 months or so, but the last few months are just going to be the hardest. So he's going to be bored and antsy, and any word he gets from anybody of encouragement will be greatly appreciated. So remember that cannabis is the most advanced plant on the planet, and it's going to help us save ourselves, save the environment, and yeah. All right, take care. Have a good weekend. See you next week.